Test, test. There's a large tornado on the ground that is tracking towards Dangerfield in Texas. If you are in Pittsburgh, Lone Star, I'm going to say Dangerfield also. You need to take shelter immediately. A large and extremely dangerous tornado is on the ground and is producing significant damage. You need to be in shelter now. Down the road, this may be a long tracking tornado. Down the road, this could be heading towards Texarkana and New Boston. You need to be aware for this potential tornado to strike your area. Delrose, Concord, this is about to be on top of you. You need to be in shelter now. Or City, you are just outside of this tornado warning. You need to remain aware for a potential change in this tornado warning. This is where our tornado most likely is. This is tracking right for the center of Dangerfield. Dangerfield, you need to be in shelter. Lone Star, Pittsburgh, in Texas, you need to be in shelter immediately. A tornado is on the ground. Back up north, we have two more tornado warnings for DeQueen and Locksburg. This is in Texas, Oklahoma, and Arkansas. You need to be in shelter if you are in any of these warnings. Back up north, we have some discrete storms firing just northwest of Little Rock Metro. If you are in the Little Rock Metro, you need to remain aware for the potential of long tracking violent tornadoes. And you can already see we got a storm that's trying to develop a hook echo west-northwest of Little Rock. This storm does have a very subtle mesocyclone on it, so a tornado risk could be possible in the coming hours with that storm. Back down south towards Jacksonville and Palestine in Texas, you are under a tornado watch and you have more discrete thunderstorms starting to fire. You are under a special weather statement if you're in Palestine right now. These are strong but below severe limit thunderstorms. My main concern right now is still with Dangerfield and Lone Star. If you are in any of these cities, you need to be taking shelter. A large and extremely dangerous tornado could possibly be on the ground and producing damage. You need to be in a small interior room, closet, or bathroom. Unless you have a basement. If you have a basement, you need to be in your basement. We may have another debris signature on the northwest side of Gilmer. This may be a tornado on the ground. Velocities don't seem to be adding up to it, But that is because we haven't gotten an update on velocity yet. I cannot stress this enough. Pittsburgh, Lone Star, Dangerfield, you need to be in shelter now. A tornado could be on the ground. Okay, there is a new severe thunderstorm warning for the Little Rock metro area, and it is labeled tornado possible. This is that storm I was talking about earlier, the one that's starting to form a hook echo and mesocyclone. There's your supercell. Doesn't seem to be doing much right now. We might have an area of rotation north of Morrilton. This is also in Arkansas. DeQueen, you need to be in shelter. You are under a tornado warning. Nashville in Arkansas, this is tracking towards you. You need to be alert for the potential of a tornado warning extension. This is still my main concern though, Lone Star, Dangerfield, Pittsburgh. You are under a PDS tornado warning, standing for particularly dangerous situation, which means a large and extremely dangerous tornado could be on the ground and potentially violent tornado. We still got two areas of rotation. One that's east-northeast of Russellville, and one that's more northeast of Russellville. This one is directly west of Clinton. These two could trigger a tornado warning or severe thunderstorm warning in the coming minutes. If you are in Clinton and Mountain View, you should be alert for possible changes. We are still just seeing impressive velocity scans, very strong outflow winds and very strong inflow winds. They just need to meet in the middle here. Once they start touching, there's the chance of a potentially violent tornado dropping again. This is why Dangerfield, Lone Star, and Pittsburgh needs to be in shelter immediately. There we go. Tornado warning north-northwest of Little Rock. You need to be in shelter if you are in Clinton. There There you go, strong rotation right here. This is tracking the relative path of Clinton in Arkansas. You need to be in shelter if you're in Clinton. The tornado could be on the ground. Further down the road from this tornado warning, Leslie, Mountain View, Mount Olive, Calico Rock. This is in Arkansas, north central Arkansas to be exact. If you are in that area, you need to remain alert for the potential of a long track violent tornado out of these discrete supercells. Back on our PDS warning. This might be on the ground. Let's see. This is not on the ground currently, but this rotation is currently on top of Interstate 271 near Lafayette. The lightning in this storm is definitely starting to uptick also. We do have severe thunderstorm watches in effect for south central Illinois, south central Missouri also, and eastern Kentucky. These are all for the risk of damaging winds, hail, and spin-up tornadoes. You need to remain alert if you're in those areas for the entirety of today. Back to our Clinton storm. We continue to see an impressive reflectivity reading and a decent velocity couplet still. We just got another tornado warning. This is for that northern couplet, which isn't as strong, but there is still a couplet. This one goes for just west of Clinton, Botkenberg, Old Botkenberg, Crabtree, and Plant. This is in Arkansas. Back down to our Dangerfield storm, we could potentially be seeing a cycle and a cell merger out of this storm, which could possibly enhance the tornado risk with these storms. Clinton. Once again, you are under a tornado warning. You need to be in shelter. It's a small interior room, bathroom, or closet, unless you have a basement or a storm shelter. You need to go there if you have a basement or storm shelter. Otherwise, small interior room away from all exterior walls, windows, and doors. We continue to have a particularly dangerous situation tornado warning just south of Dangerfield. I do not currently think this tornado is on the ground, but you still need to be in shelter if you're in Lone Star, Pittsburgh, or Dangerfield, because an extension of this warning is possible in the coming minutes. Up north on these two tornado warnings, velocity continues to look a little messy because of the blind spot in the radar. So I would remain aware because we can't really see that much out of these storms right now. If we could potentially be seeing some strong velocity couplets. We have another tornado possible severe thunderstorm warning. This is further south, more towards the western part of the Little Rock Metro. You need to remain aware because there is a tornado possible severe thunderstorm warning. Still have a PDS warning. If we go back far enough, we can see how strong this tornado was. And it was strong. It was a potentially violent tornado earlier in its life. It has since weakened in the short run. We don't know if it's going to recycle and potentially be strong again. We're just going to have to see in the coming minutes. Up on a statewide look, you can see almost all of Arkansas is under a tornado watch, with exceptions of the southeast portion and the northwest portion. Anywhere from Shreveport, Louisiana, to Jonesboro and Arkansas could see the potential of violent long-tracking tornadoes today. We got an extension of a tornado warning from the DeQueen storm. And this velocity, it's still there. The velocity couplet's still there. It's a little broad, but this is tracking towards Norman in the future in Arkansas. We see a condensed tornado warning on the Clinton storm in Arkansas. This one continues to show a broader couplet, which is a good sign, but re-intensification is possible, so you should still be in shelter if you're in Clinton. We are most definitely going to get an extension of the warning for Dangerfield, but I don't think it's on the ground anymore. This is not a PDS tornado anymore. This will most likely be a radar-indicated extension for Dangerfield, Naples, and Lone Star. It'll look something like this. Lone Star, Dangerfield. Naples, you might just be outside of the warning that's issued. You might be in it. We don't know just yet. Our southern tornado warning tracking towards Winthrop and Mineral Springs. Your rotation is decently broad right now. I would still be in shelter. Tornado could be on the ground. Queen, your tornado warning. You continue to have some decent rotation on your storm. I'd be in shelter if you're in DeQueen. We're starting to see little cells pop up west-northwest of Arkadelphia, and these will track the relative area of the Little Rock Metro. This is not a good sign so far for today. We've started to see discrete modes starting to fire, and once these discrete supercells start to fire, they'll be all by themselves in the atmosphere, and they'll be able to utilize every single part of the atmosphere. Once these storms move out of Arkansas, we're going to see more of a tornado risk in western Tennessee, western Kentucky, and northwestern Mississippi. These will most likely be more of a QLCS type tornado risk, which is where you'll have brief spin up tornadoes embedded in a line of thunderstorms. Although these tornadoes can be strong on certain occasions, and tonight could be one of those nights. There's a new tornado warning. There's an extension of the storm north of Texarkana. You need to be in shelter if you're in this warning. This goes for Nashville and DeQueen in Arkansas. You need to be in shelter. Small interior room, bathroom or closet, unless you have a basement or storm shelter. If you have a basement or storm shelter, go there immediately. Pretty north for our storm mode today. These look like to be more gusty showers, though. Strong thunderstorms. Strong thunderstorms in the Shelbyville area that is southeast of Springfield in Illinois. These are some impressive showers, I guess you could say, but they are technically thunderstorms. There's a new tornado warning for northeastern Arkansas. This is east of Cherokee Village. This is a discrete supercell. This is not what you want to be seeing. And you can see our mesocyclone right there. This is west of Maynard. And this is heading towards Naylor and Poplar Bluff. Poplar Bluff isn't the most least populated area. You need to be alert if you're in Poplar Bluff. We continue to have a PDS tornado warning for Dangerfield and Lone Star. I don't agree with having a PDS warning on it, but the inflow is starting to clear out a bit more, and we may be having a handoff near Lone Star. Right there is our hook echo. Extension of this warning is possible once again for Dangerfield, Lone Star, and Linden. If you're in this area, you need to be alert because the tornado could be on the ground and it could be tracking right for you. We continue to see a hook echo trying to start to form, heading towards Wooster and Greenbrier. This is northwest of Little Rock in Arkansas. Okay, let's just clear our contamination. We continue to see a surge in inflow and outflow in Lone Star. You need to be in shelter immediately if you're in Lone Star. Tornado could be on the ground. This is your final chance to get into your shelter. There we go. They issued a tornado warning on the Conway storm. Well, that was starting to develop a hook echo. They continued the PDS tornado warning for another hour and 1 minute. Dangerfield, Lone Star, Naples, you need to be in shelter immediately. That's a small interior room, preferably a bathroom or closet, unless you have a storm shelter or basement. Otherwise, go to your storm shelter or basement. The tornado that is on the ground is confirmed by radar. So the National Weather Service must be seeing a debris signature on this tornado. I am not currently, but that does not mean that there isn't a tornado on the ground. You still need to be in shelter. Okay, we could be seeing a debris signature now heading into Lone Star. I don't know. Things aren't velocity, reflectivity, and correlation coefficient aren't really lining up the best on this. Still, you need to be in shelter in Lone Star and Dangerfield. Douglasville, Marietta, you need to be in shelter as well. Alright, this tornado that is on the ground will continue for Lone Star in Texas. South Main Street in Lone Star. This tornado is going to be hitting you first, and then it's going to hit Industrial Boulevard. This is a very concerning thunderstorm right here, and could be on the ground. You need to be in shelter in Lone Star. And we've got another new tornado warning that is tracking towards Batesville and Southside in Arkansas. You need to take shelter in Fairfield Bay. And tornadic supercell is tracking towards you. You can see the hook echo trying to develop on this storm. Greer's Ferry, you need to be in shelter also. A tornado could be on the ground in your area. They have canceled the southern PDS warning. Dangersfield Lone Star, you are still under a tornado warning that is labeled as particularly dangerous. You need to take shelter. Considerable damage is expected to those who are in the track of this tornado. Next in track for this is Hughes Spring. If this is still on the ground, it will be hitting Hughes Spring at County Road 2871. You need to take shelter, and then it will be hitting South Park, and then North Park. Next, it will be hitting near Hillcrest Drive. You need to be in shelter if you are in Hughes Spring or Lone Star. Lone Star, this is most definitely on top of you at this point. Dangerfield, you are getting some good size hail right now. You can check the size of this hail. You're seeing hail around an inch if you're in Dangerfield right now. Back up north, we have 4 tornado warnings in north central Arkansas, plus 1 on the Arkansas-Missouri border. If you are anywhere in these areas, you need to be alert because long-track violent tornadoes are expected and are possible today. Yeah, on top of Lone Star, I'm continuing to see a very impressive velocity couple on the north side of Lone Star. This is tracking towards Dangerfield and Hughes Springs. This goes for Highway 11, Hughes Springs, Jenkins, Crossroads Community Cemetery, Midway. You need to be in shelter. A potentially violent tornado is on the ground. Lone Star. Once again, you need to be in shelter. A potentially violent tornado is on the ground on the north side of Lone Star. Hughes Springs, you are next in line for this. Then it is Crossroads Community Cemetery and Midway. You need to be in shelter in these areas. That is a small interior room, preferably a bathroom or closet, unless you have a basement or storm shelter. Otherwise, you need to go there. You need to be in shelter immediately. I mean, this just continues to impress me. North side of Lone Star, there still seems to be a good velocity. This might be on the ground. We see that little lowered part in the correlation coefficient. This is headed right for Hughes Spring. We have echotops, which shows how far the storms are spreading into the atmosphere. Here we are seeing echotops in the mid 50,000s. This is a very tall thunderstorm, and is what you could see producing a violent long track tornado. This thing has a very nice structure. In the long run, this is tracking right for Texarkana. For a closer view, this is going to be entering on the southwest side of Hughes Spring, and this is going to track right through the center of the town. We continue to have tornado warnings in DeQueen, tracking towards Murfreesboro, and Amity. You need to be in shelter in Locksburg, Nashville, Mineral Springs, and Horatio. Tornado could be on the ground in the area. You need to be in shelter. My biggest concern still remains is this storm, which has been PDS warned now for close to 2 hours. You need to be in shelter. I cannot stress this enough. We might have a CC on this right here. We most likely do have a CC on this. We have a new tornado warning here. This one has a very nice hook echo on it. Right there. This is heading towards Brawley and Oliver. This is in western Arkansas. Near Worcester, there is a tornado warning. I don't see that much rotation on this storm. Still, if you're in Worcester and Greenbrier, you need to be in shelter because you are under a tornado warning. I mean, we've been seeing very impressive velocity scans on this storm for the past hour, 30 minutes, 2 hours. This is one of those storms that will be producing long tracking tornadoes. This is the storms that they were mentioning today in the Storm Prediction Center's outlooks. We might have some more discrete cells starting to fire on the east side of Texarkana. I can confirm this is what's happening. Ecotop wise, I'm not seeing too tall ecotops on this. I would say we're seeing ecotops around, I would say around 20 to 30,000 feet on those storms. I cannot tell exactly because of radar contamination. That's just my estimate on these new cells that are starting to fire. Hughes Spring, this is now on top of, not about to be on top of you. You need to be in shelter in Hughes Spring. I'm not seeing anything on the correlation coefficient. A tornado could very well still be on the ground. You need to be in shelter. We did just get a new severe thunderstorm warning in southern Missouri. This is for 60-mile-per-hour straight line winds, damaging hail up to quarter size. I do not see a tornado threat being possible out of these storms. But then again, there is convergence. So a tornado warning could be possible out of that storm in the future. Dangerfield. This is now passing just the east of you. This is on County Road 130, heading towards Crossroads Community Cemetery and Midway. You need to be in shelter if you're in Midway. Nickelberry down the road in Marietta. You guys are in the path of this tornado. I cannot stress enough how important it is to get to shelter in these types of situations. Continue to see really tall top thunderstorms in the mid 50,000s, which just shows how strong and tall these thunderstorms are. On this discrete cell north of Little Rock, it doesn't seem that impressive on reflectivity. As this new scan comes in, it continues to not look that impressive. And on velocity, it isn't looking that impressive also. There's nothing on the ground currently at this time. Okay, our PDS tornado warning was downgraded to radar indicated, which does give me a chance to go over the model runs today, showing what everyone's risk is. Currently, you can see we have a semi-discrete line of thunderstorms. This is what's producing our tornadoes currently in Texas and southwestern Louisiana. A couple hours from now, we will continue to see development of discrete supercells in front of the line of thunderstorms, which will pose a risk for those tornadoes. By 8 to 9 o'clock, we should see a line of thunderstorms from Jonesboro down to Conway, Hot Springs, all the way down to Tyler, Texas. So from Cape Girardeau all the way up in Missouri, all the way down to Tyler, Texas, we are expecting widespread damaging winds and the potential for quick spin-up tornadoes. At this time, we will still continue to see the risk for the prefrontal supercells, which will still pose the risk of violent tornadoes. By 10 p.m. tonight, storms will start to move out of Missouri. Storms will still be happening in eastern Arkansas. By this time, western Arkansas and western Tennessee, not Arkansas, western Kentucky and western Tennessee will start to see their straight line damaging winds risk, which will pose the risk for the spin-up 2 LCS tornadoes at the same time. And there are still the potential for prefrontal cells north of Jackson and west of Clarksville in Tennessee. These are models, so they aren't really a forecast, but they can show us what the models think supercells and thunderstorms will look like. It's really a good sign that there finally isn't a PDS warning on the Lone Star storm. And velocity does look a little bit more messy, which is a really good sign that we're starting to see in this area. There is a bit of rotation that is tracking towards Mountain View in northern Arkansas. Okay, that must have just been a glitch in the radar. It looked like a rotation couplet. Reflectivity doesn't really agree with it. There's the rotation couplet. The rotation couplet is right here, northeast of Clinton. This is tracking in the relative area of Mountain View. If you are in Mountain View, you need to be in shelter immediately. There could be a tornado on the ground. I'm going to stay on the Lone Star storm for a bit. We could potentially see a recycle out of this storm. I continue to see convection filling up the inflow notch on this storm, which is a good sign. This would cut off the storm's warm, moist air and fill it in with cooled rain air. This would cause a tornado risk to die out on this storm. Still, you cannot let your guard down because there is a tornado warning on this storm. You are still supposed to be sheltered for 35 more minutes if you're in Dangerfield and Lone Star, Marietta and Douglasville also. Continue to see a discrete supercell trying to form near Nashville, Arkansas. and velocities are just all over the place. These storms are in such a radar blind zone that the velocities look very disorganized. Here they look a little better, but you can make out an area of rotation, but it doesn't look impressive because it is still in a radar hole. There could be impressive rotation in there, we just can't tell by now. On the northern tornado warning, we continue to have an area of rotation. This is tracking northeast in the path of Norman. Two tornado warnings, both going for 19 minutes. And this storm is tracking in the relative area of Mountain View. Otherwise, things seem to be on the low end side right now. It does not mean things will start to ramp up later tonight. I'm seeing more of a damaging winds risk now coming out of the Lone Star and Dangerfield situation, but a clearing is starting to happen in the inflow notch of this thunderstorm, which could allow for a potential recycle and stronger tornado risk as this moves toward the Texarkana. Fairfield Bay, you are in the clear. The storm has moved past you, is continuing to move away from you. Mountain View, you still need to be in shelter. Mount Olive, this is moving towards you. Calico Rock, this is also moving towards you. You need to be alert for an extension on this warning. Continuing to see good trends coming out of this storm. We still do have a very impressive structure on reflectivity. This is it's a beast of a supercell. Stretching from Redwater all the way down to Dangerfield. That's how big this storm is. That is a total of 31 miles. That's how big that storm is. It's absolutely impressive. Poplar Bluff, you are under a tornado warning. You need to be in shelter immediately. Poplar Bluff. This seems to be tracking right for you. You need to be in shelter immediately. Naylor, you too. We're potentially seeing an uptick on velocity once again on this storm, which isn't a good sign. Just contamination. We might be seeing a bounded weak echo region starting to develop right here, which is where that strong area of velocity is. means that these hydrometeors or raindrops are being centrifuged out from an area of rotation, which means that there is strong rotation either elevated or near the ground. Maud, Redwater, and Hooks, you are in the immediate path for this. There could be an extension of this warning, which would look something like this, potentially. Redwater and Maud, you should be ready to take shelter. You shouldn't be taking shelter just yet, but be ready. We continue to see an area of reds and greens touching each other, which means that we have a velocity couplet. This seems to be completely rain wrapped. So Maud, Redwater, and Hooks, once this moves into your area, it's going to be nearly impossible to see it. It's not worth going outside trying to get that video of a tornado because you're not going to see it anyways. You need to be in shelter if you're in that area. Other than that tornado warning, we have a couple others. These ones don't seem to be posing as much of a significant threat. Our one in Nashville over here, the radar is really contaminated, so we can't really tell. But it seems like our area of rotation is right here. And yep, that's where that is. This is tracking towards the north side of Nashville and directly towards Murfreesboro, southwest Arkansas. Nashville, you should be in shelter already. Murfreesboro, this is tracking towards you. You should be ready to get shelter. Our northern tornado warning. If you are anywhere in this warning, you can most definitely, you're in the clear. This is Interstate 278 and Highway 84. You are now in the clear. You can get out of shelter if you are east of Wicks. We still have a tornado warning in Poplar Bluff. This tornado warning doesn't seem to be significant. It's very far away, so we can't tell. we're starting to see storms initiating in Kentucky. This one is southeast of Crofton. It did look a little more impressive a couple of scans ago. The Mountain View storm looks like it's most likely going to get canceled. There's 3 minutes left on this warning. I mean, that signature looks like they might continue this warning. South of Mountain View. There's nothing on the ground right now, but things can change very quickly with this environment that these thunderstorms are in today. Okay, I don't even think we're going to get an extension on our Texas storm now. It just doesn't look impressive anymore. It's kind of gotten absorbed by the line of thunderstorms, which has caused its tornado threat to be basically zero at this point. Still, damaging winds and moderately sized hail will be possible with these storms, which could still make damage as bad as, let's say, an EF0 or EF1 tornado. My biggest concern now goes to the Poplar Bluff storm and Naylor. Okay, storm mode on this popular bluff storm is starting to look a little more messy. It is our only dominant discrete supercell right now, so it could be undergoing a cell merger or something else. Seems like we're starting to enter a little bit of a quiet period. We are down to only 2 tornado warnings. Okay, we've got a new tornado warning. This is down for Nashville in Arkansas. Murfreesboro, you are in, when I say direct path, you are in the direct path, and you are in the direct path, specifically on this storm. So Nashville, you need to be in shelter. Murfreesboro, remain aware. An extension of this tornado warning could be possible in the coming minutes. Okay, both radar sites cannot really show one defined area of rotation due to how far the storm is from any radar site. Still, there is most definitely rotation on this thunderstorm. So Nashville and Mineral Springs, you need to be in shelter right now. Our tornado warning in Poplar Bluff goes for 7 minutes now. An extension of this warning is possible, but it really matters on how strong the National Weather Service sees the rotation. It seems like there's more rotation on the northern side this morning, which means a new warning is possible in this area. Continuing with the good news, we finally do not have a tornado warning in Texas. Texarkana, you are under a tornado possible severe thunderstorm warning, so you need to remain aware for the potential of a tornado. I don't see that much spin going on with this thunderstorm, but things can really change quickly with severe thunderstorms, but especially today due to how the environment is. We are starting to see a bit more of a hook echo on our Poplar Bluff storm. Still isn't the most impressive storm on reflectivity or velocity. Velocity, it's very messy. We don't have anything on the ground currently. If we continue to see a downtrend on everything here, I will be planning to get off, because after this it'll be more of a damaging wind risk with brief tornadoes instead of the threat of strong violent tornadoes. Okay, this most recent scan is showing definitely a downtrend and weakening of the storm near Poplar Bluff. This is still in the path of southern Cape Girardeau, and in the long run, Metropolis and Paducah. You can see in Arkansas our damaging wind risk is starting to take part here. This will start to move at an east-northeast movement. This will still pose the risk of embedded tornadoes in the line of thunderstorms. These will most likely be brief spin-up tornadoes. So these storms will be hitting Little Rock, Pine Bluff, Jonesboro, Memphis. These are the highly populated areas that are in the risk for this. a new tornado warning now north of Batesville. This is a radar indicated tornado warning. If you are in this warning, you get to shelter away from outside walls, windows, and doors. The tornado is possibly on the ground.